Good morning. I am Zena Krogadal, your American Dream Makers host, and it is a very exciting day here in Northern Arizona. I've got a very special guest today, Jim Keys. He is doing amazing things and continues to. But before we bring him on, I would like to go ahead and play our intro video, and I'll be right back. Good morning. Again, it is Zena Krogadal, your American Dream Makers host. I do believe that the American dream belongs not only to all of us and that we can achieve it, but we can actually go beyond. And our next guest has absolutely lived the American dream, going beyond the American dream, and helping others to succeed as well. It is James Keys, also known as Jim Keys, and he is the former CEO of Blockbuster and 7-Elevens and a numerous. He is a multi-serial entrepreneur, and he is now also a best-selling author of Education is Freedom. So the future is absolutely in your hands. And without further ado, let's bring Jim on because we got so much to discuss because he's got a lot of wisdom to share with us today. Now, also, I'm going to bring him on. Also, guys, if you are watching live, please don't be shy. Comment, ask him questions, and share this out because Jim's message absolutely needs to get out. Welcome, Jim. Thank you so much for being here.
It's great to be with you this morning.
Awesome. Now, Jim, you live all the way in the great state of Big Star, Texas.
I do.
How long have you been a resident of Texas for?
Well, I grew up in a small town in Massachusetts, and I got here as quickly as I could. So, ironically, there are pictures of me as a little kid with a cowboy hat and cowboy clothes on, and so I guess I was destined to be a Texan at some point. Yeah, I've been here well over 30 years.
That's fantastic. Now, you've got quite a, I guess what you would call a resume, mover and a shaker. And as I was reading up on your bio and all that, boy, you have mastered a lot of skills, such as you're a pilot as well, on top of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's been a lifelong passion. It actually started because I wanted to be an astronaut.
Wow.
Yeah, I kind of fell a little bit short of that goal, but you never know. There's still hope for me. Everything's possible, right? Yeah. So I channeled that passion for space and aerospace into learning how to fly at a very young age and stayed with it. A lot of people learn how to fly and then they just kind of give up after a while or they get bored or whatever. But I stayed with it and worked my way up through single engine, twins, turboprops, helicopters, float planes, jets. And now I fly just about anything with wings or rotors.
Wow. And so do you have your own plane then?
Yeah, it's a little embarrassing. You know how women like shoes for different occasions, I have too many planes. I have a jet for travel. I have a World War II trainer plane called the T6 Texan. That is fun for poking holes in the sky and doing aerobatics. And then I have a Aviat Husky, which is a bush plane with big old Tundra tires that mean I can go harass my neighbors and land in their backyard.
Wow. How fun is that? Wow. So, so instead of garages, you have hangars at your house. Is that what it is?
Well, I actually at my office is actually on an airport outside of Dallas and just north of Dallas. And I'm able to keep my planes downstairs. And when I need to go somewhere, if you were in Prescott, let's see, if you said, hey, can you join me for lunch? I might be a little late, but I could probably be there just a little afternoon your time.
That's awesome. How fun is that? Wow. So you can just, instead of getting in a car, you can just hop in your plane and just to go about anywhere in the United. And living in the Dallas area, you're pretty centrally located. Like you can pretty much hit all borders of the United States in a
Yeah.
couple hours.
Yeah, I'm about 2.5, 3 hours from either coast here in Dallas, and it is a blessing. I pinch myself every time I go up, and I say a little prayer of gratitude because it is such a privilege to be able to do this. This is a very unique thing that in America we're able to be licensed to jump in a jet, literally fly by ourselves. I don't even need a co-pilot technically at 40 to 45,000 feet, and be anywhere in the country in 3 hours. It's just such a unique privilege to be able to do that.
Yeah, what an awesome place we live in the United States to be able to do all those things. Jim, what amazes me too about you as I've gotten to know you and listened to some of your other interviews is that you are highly driven but very humble. So I'd like for you to maybe take us back a little bit and tell us how you became inspired to becoming an entrepreneur, or was that an accidental trip, or was that intentional? So maybe just give us a little bit of what all took place before um, your mark in the world.
I would say being an entrepreneur was a total accident. I had no idea what business was all about. Frankly, growing up in a small town, the local businesses were, factories and things like that. And I just wasn't very excited about business at all. So I set out to be a lawyer. I thought maybe that was a profession and it made sense to me, but with no frame of reference. It's so many young people just don't have a frame of reference. It's not their fault. I guess I won the birth lottery and being born in the United States, but I maybe didn't. I came up a little bit short on the economic side of that birth lottery, and that we just didn't have any money, and so college or opportunity wasn't really on the horizon. I thought I would work in the factory just as my brothers did or my dad did, and it turned out that I discovered the secret to doing just about anything was wrapped up in learning, and that the more I learned, the more I could do. And that opened up an entirely new universe for me, whether it was having the privilege of flying my own plane or starting a company or even having the ability to work for a major corporation and ultimately lead a Fortune 500 company. These are all opportunities that came through the power of learning.
The power of learning, the power of education, which again, that's the beauty of this country that we live in, this is that we have education at our fingertips. Because not every country has that opportunity. I know my parents are immigrants from Vietnam, and education did not occur for everybody. My mom only had an 8th grade education because she had to drop out and take care of the family and, numerous other things. My dad didn't even finish his high school diploma because he ended up joining the Vietnamese army to fight for freedom. And, and you're right, education takes you so far. And my dad, when he went to go apply for a janitorial job at Kmart, they asked him for a high school diploma. And he tells the story in that he got so upset because he's like, I just want to clean your floors and toilets. What do you need a diploma for? And they said, sorry, sir, this is, part of our requirements. So he said, fine, I'll go get you your diploma. So he signed up for night school. And while he was taking the classes for that, he realized, I don't want to continue cleaning floors and toilets the rest of my life. I'm going to enroll in college as soon as I get my GED. And that's what he did.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is such a powerful lesson there. There's a narrative right now for whatever reason. And it's interesting because it's not ideological. It's coming from both the right and the left. But the narrative is you don't need to go to college. There's so much that you can do today. You can make all kinds of money. Just go be a plumber or do this or do that. And all of those things are true in the short term. But your dad's experience is going to happen at some point to everyone in their life when they want to do something different and they apply to do that. And the first thing they're asked is, what are your credentials?
Mhm.
You may be very, very smart, but where did you go to school? What is your high school experience? What is your college experience? Maybe even, depending on the job, what is your graduate school experience? Because everyone forgets that we're all individuals and we have to differentiate ourselves in the workforce.
Mhm.
And that college degree, while some people don't think it's important or relevant today, is and will be very important for people to be able to have the flexibility to pivot
Yes.
and do anything they want to do.
Yeah, and you're just a prime example too. That I mean, if you take the opportunities that are right in front of you. So whether it's college, and I agree, I'm a secondary education proponent for sure. But whether it's college or just furthering your education, like increasing your skills, increasing your knowledge, and I believe we're in a day and age that you can get educated in so many different ways and fashion. And now that we have the internet, you don't even have to physically show up to get yourself an education. You can do it in the comfort of your living room.
Now, this is true, but it's also a trap.
Mm.
It's also a trap. Let's take your dad as a great example. No high school degree, no college degree when he came. He had trouble even getting a job at Kmart
Mhm.
without a high school degree. He could have been Einstein from gaining knowledge on the internet, but certain jobs will require a threshold of credentials.
Mhm.
And this is something everybody forgets. So we have to be careful of the trap. Now, I am a proponent of learning anywhere, anyhow. This in my hands is a portal to unlimited learning. So I encourage everyone to use technology to learn as much as you can. But I'm also practical enough, having run big companies, 7-Eleven at 400,000 people. How do you decide who you're going to hire?
Mhm.
You can't just guess at how smart someone is. So their ability to manage a system, a high school degree, a college degree, the grades they get, where they go to school, these are all important and will be important for a long time until we have some other way of measuring one's intelligence versus another person, one's abilities, one's knowledge. That's all we have for the foreseeable future to be able to measure that. And if you want the flexibility to either work in a company or be an entrepreneur, that degree is pretty important.
Yes, yes, and you're right. There are certain fields for sure. There's a lot of fields that require those credentials. My dad was a computer engineer, software engineer. Absolutely requires the credentials. You definitely want a doctor, a medical doctor, working to have the credentials, the right credentials.
Yeah.
So you absolutely right. I mean, it is, like I said, it is at the fingertips. And I remember when I graduated college and I was interacting with some people, moved here to Prescott, Arizona. And Prescott's kind of an interesting place because it was a smaller town. It's grown, but it has that, I don't know if you call it a small town mentality, but people didn't necessarily want to leave here. And so they didn't necessarily want to leave to go to Phoenix to go get an education or go to Flagstaff or wherever, because they would ask me, well, how did you become a dental hygienist? That's a great paying job, blah, 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 blah. And I would tell them, oh, I went to college at NEU, got my bachelor's degree, and you can do the same. And they're like, well, I don't know that I want to leave. I'm like, well, it's just a couple of years. It's just 2 or 3 years. And then you can come back and work here. Like, it's just a time. It's just a season. And I walked away thinking, are you kidding me? Like, you don't want to leave for a few years temporarily to get a great education, to come back, get a better paying job. And that just blew my mind that there were people who thought this way. And what a shame. that there are people missing out. But yet these same people also said, well, a couple of them, they're not a lot of them, but they also said that I took their jobs. People like you that take jobs from people like me, and I'm thinking, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But so interesting.
No, you know what it is? It's a common situation, and it really is fear of the unknown. I'm afraid to leave. I'm comfortable here. It's okay. I don't really want more in my life, and that's fine. And for many people, that there's certainly nothing wrong with that. It's just in many ways sad that people don't at least open themselves up to the opportunity. Mm-hmm. Because opportunity is out there. It's around every corner. And if we don't get out of our comfort zone, and if we don't overcome that fear of the unknown, if I leave this little town, what's going to happen out there? It's scary. I don't like it out there. Then we don't ever stretch ourselves, and we never really know what our full potential in life may have been.
Yeah, beautifully said. Jim, so we talk a lot about education and our intelligence, and that is so important. What other ingredients would you also say? And I do want to talk about your book a little bit more here in just a little bit, but before we get to that, what other ingredients would you say is key to the success of entrepreneurship or anything else that we are going to dive into?
Well, I've got a formula in the book that I outline, and I call it the C-suite learnings, if you will. It's those meta skills that I learned over many years in the workplace. That
okay.
This is the nice thing about having a podcast versus being live. You can cut and splice. The thing that I learned over the years in the workplace are those meta skills that no one teaches in school. And I'll give you some examples. In the book, I characterize what to learn, how to learn, and why. And inside of what to learn are things like embracing change. It's like you said, some people just don't like change. They don't want to get outside of their comfort zone. They don't want to leave their small town. But all opportunity comes back to change. I've coined the expression change equals opportunity, which makes sense, right? Something changes and that creates an opportunity. But most of us are really reluctant and push back at change. It's critically important, especially for an entrepreneur. Then secondly is confidence, because it's not the change that matters. Change is nothing to do with anything. It's just reality. Change is going to happen. How you respond to it, that's something that you can control. And our response to change comes down to confidence. Do we believe that there's a silver lining in this dark cloud? If it's a bad change, is there an opportunity in there? If it's a good change, are we good enough to be able to handle it, to take it, and to take that opportunity? And so change is the first thing. Confidence is the second. And then the third is maybe the hardest, because it's clarity. It's simplification. We complicate the heck out of everything. But clarity of both inbound communications, listening clearly so we understand fact from fiction, truth from falsehoods, reality, and we ask questions, and then clarity in terms of our communications outward. Are we able to put things into concise terms and communicate effectively? So those three things, I think, are critical elements of being an entrepreneur.
That's great. Change, confidence, and clarity. Wow. Excellent. I want to put your website up here too. I'm going to share the screen so that we can take a look. And let me share to the homepage here, because I want people to see this right here. When you go to jameswkeys.com, you can get your copy of Education is Freedom. The future is in your hands. And this is, I think, a really transformational book. Just I think everyone needs to grab this copy. And Jim, you've written other books as well.
This is actually my first book.
Oh, okay.
I've written a lot of papers and articles and things like that, op-eds, but this is my first book.
Awesome. Well, congratulations.
And I've got an offer. I've never done this before, but I'm going to make this offer for your listeners. If someone wants to buy 10 copies of this book, because this is a book that's intended to be a gift. I want people to give it to their coworkers, their kids, their friends, that need some direction, that are perhaps stuck in their career or in their life or in their academic experience, whatever. It's those things that you wish someone had told you when you were 15 years old. And it doesn't matter if you're 15 or 50. They're still very relevant and very helpful. So if someone orders 10 copies of the book and they send me evidence that they, a receipt for 10 copies or something, I will send you a free signed copy with an inscription. How's that?
Order 10 copies and get a free signed one.
Yeah, I've never made that offer, but it'll be interesting. I'll let you try it and see if we can get anybody interested. Because my objective is not to make money on this book. My objective is to get the word out that your future is in your hands, and that, as I said, 15 or 50, it doesn't matter. We can change our life with the power of learning.
Yeah. Oh, I love the idea of don't just buy a copy for yourself, buy a copy and start passing it out.
That's the objective.
Yeah.
There's so many people that just are stuck, and they need to get unstuck. They need to realize confidence is something you can build, you can grow. And fear is your biggest enemy. It's gonna affect your personal life, your family, your career. And fear is a killer of corporations, and it's a killer of individual opportunity.
So, and this is a great topic you bring up, because fear is so huge. So fear, it can be either forget everything and run, which is what the majority of people do, right? Forget everything and run. Or you can face everything and rise. So how you respond to it, like you said, don't let the fear paralyze you. Don't let it keep you from doing things. But what if you faced everything and rose, even though you had those feelings? Because let's face it, everyone that I have ever come across, we've at some moment had some fear. I mean, starting a new business, Jim, you've had many of them.
Yep.
I'm sure there were thoughts in the middle of the night like, oh my gosh, how are we going to pull this off?
Yeah. But it's natural. It's natural. And ultimately success comes down to being able to manage your own natural human weaknesses, which start with your own insecurity. And if we can get ourselves out of that, we give it our best shot. Yes, there may be failures, but you can also learn from your failures. There's nothing wrong with failing. Michael Jordan talks about all of the shots he's missed, all of the games he's lost. And if you look at the numbers, they're staggering. But you learn from every losing experience, and then next time you get better. Again, the response. Otherwise, you lose and you have your head down and you don't win, and you crawl back into your safe environment and you forfeit the opportunity to grow.
And I really love that you said that, even Michael Jordan missed more shots, but that's not really a sign of failure. In fact, you can't succeed without failing.
It happens. It happens.
Because there's lessons in it all.
There's lessons in it all. I use a quote from Nelson Mandela, who said after many, many years being locked up in prison, what did he do in prison? Did he have a pity party and feel bad for himself and put day marks on the wall. No, he studied law. He put together a study group while he was in prison with other prisoners and brought in legal books and learned law and emerged from prison and became president of a country, of South Africa. I mean, you talk about a positive response to a very negative situation. He could have basically drowned in his own self-misery or blamed others and became the victim. But instead, he took the future in his own hands and said, I'm gonna apply this time towards something good, and was able to then lead the company after that many years in prison. It was just the country after that many years in prison. It's an amazing story. But Nelson Mandela says, I never lose. I win or I learn.
That's
pretty powerful.
Wow, very powerful.
Yeah.
And never lose. Wow. That's awesome. Woo. Well, and Jim, so you had mentioned that you became an entrepreneur almost by accident. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I started out, as I said, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. I had a teacher intercept me and convince me that I should look at business school. They said I'd be a terrible lawyer. Probably right. And I applied for a joint JD MBA degree at Columbia University, and the business school accepted me and a law school waitlisted me. So I decided to start in the business path. And it turned out that I ended up with an internship and a job, and decided to pursue that direction. Never went back to, didn't finish the MBA, didn't go back to law school. And it led to a corporate career where I discovered that to be successful in a corporation, one has to be an entrepreneur. Now, that's a bit ironic because the whole idea of corporate entrepreneur is kind of an oxymoron, right? I mean, think about it. Corporate means as one. Entrepreneur means individual out there succeeding. And frankly, many corporations beat the entrepreneur out of you because they want conformity. They want consistency. They want people to come together. And so there's a delicate balance that everyone in a corporation has to strike between being a corporate professional and not getting too far out of the realm of, uniformity, and yet still being an entrepreneur and being able to bring ideas and innovation and change to the table inside a corporate organization. That's where I think I discovered a lot of my success was in overcoming that fear that keeps us from being entrepreneurs in a corporate environment.
Wow. You're it's a lot of food for thought for sure, because you're right. Corporation being in corporate world is very different than the entrepreneur. And the entrepreneur mindset, like you said, is an individual, but it also allows for that creativity, the uniqueness. And so that is probably your key to success right there, Jim, is that you've been creative, because you not only have owned a 7-Eleven and more than one location, I believe. Is that correct?
That I did what?
Did you own more than one 7-Eleven?
No, I didn't own 7-Elevens. I was president and CEO of the internet of the whole
whole thing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a very big corporate job as CEO of a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, that's incredible.
But I achieved it by being an entrepreneur within. And this is something that is not often understood, that you have to be and can be an entrepreneur in a corporate environment. Now, you will break glass in order to succeed in a corporate environment and help the company progress. You have to be a proponent of change. And in a corporate environment, change is not always welcomed. You're often told, stay in your place, go back to your job, just be quiet, put in your time, et cetera, et cetera. But I was willing to push the envelope to bring change. And the secret to that balance, from my perspective, was always, if I'm doing the right things, if I'm bringing data to the table to support my recommendations and my decisions, then if the company fires me, even though I've A, done the things that are best for the company, and B, supported those changes with data and with valid assumptions to support them, to minimize the risk to the company, then if they fire me, then it wasn't the right environment in the first place.
Ooh, I really like what you just said, because there's so many people, again, this comes back to that fear factor that a lot of people have, because when you are in the position that you are in, the CEO, which is a huge position, that some people won't operate that way because they're fearful that they're going to lose their position. But
Right.
yet you came in with you had a bigger agenda, in that you wanted the best for the company.
Mhm.
More than you wanted the best for yourself. You wanted the best for the company. You put the company's thinking of the overall picture. And like you said, and if they didn't see that vision, then that's kind of their loss. And unfortunately for them, and it's not the place for you to be, because you have something to really offer that not a lot of people, with your education background, with your credentials, with your experience, that can bring to the table. And wow, that's profound, Jim.
Oh, thanks, but it's actually very practical, because I looked around. I started my career with Gulf Oil. Gulf merged with Chevron. I looked around. I saw a lot of people just putting in their time, and it happens in big companies. The bigger the company, the more vulnerable. I remember as a very young professional walking up and down the halls and seeing people sleep behind their Wall Street Journal at 2 p.m. after their 2 martini lunch. And I thought, wow, I don't want to be one of those people that's just putting in their time, get their retirement pin, and go their way. And I guess there is a place for people like that within corporations, but I didn't want to be one of them. And I thought that for a company to succeed, it needs people within that want to drive the company's success. And again, it's choice. The future is in your hands. You don't have to. You can choose to sit on the sidelines and take a paycheck, put in the minimum amount of work necessary to keep your job, or you can choose to be an entrepreneur, take risks, take personal risks, but you're taking risks for the company based on information and based on the best information you have. That's what business is. It's all about risk taking, manageable risk based on good, solid decision making with data to support it. If I'm doing that, let them fire me.
That really attributes to your character, Jim. You, man of integrity, obviously, man of character, man of just doing the right thing because it's the right thing. Which, not everybody in the corporate world is like that. We need more Jim Keys in this world, because that is a changing aspect, a impactful aspect that can occur if we had more people operating that way on all levels of life. That, hey, I'm coming here. I came here for this reason. I want to make an impact in the world. I want to make people's lives better. And I'm looking out for the best interest. So I'm going to do my best here, no matter what the consequences are for me. This is what I have to offer. Wow.
Sure. But it's not as much integrity as it is just confidence. It's I don't want to besmirch those who choose a different path. But if you do want to maximize your opportunity and you do want to succeed, then the way I looked at it was, I'm going to take this corporate path, but maybe corporations are not for me. Maybe I should be an entrepreneur. And that's the way I always looked at it. So I was never afraid that if I get fired, I'll be out of a job. Who cares? I'll be an entrepreneur. I'll go back to school. I'll be a lawyer. I always felt that my safety net and the reason I could be on the high wire without fear in a corporate role is that I always had the safety net of confidence that I could learn something else. If this doesn't work out, I'll take another industry. I'll take another career. I'll be an entrepreneur. I'll go back and be a lawyer. I was never afraid that I wouldn't be able to learn another skill and succeed at it.
Awesome. This is a great conversation, and you are giving lots of nuggets of wisdom here for sure. And obviously you continue to learn. You are not someone, as I'm listening to you, you're not one that like, I've learned it all. I'm just going to kick back and enjoy it. But I'm hearing you and I'm like, wow, this is a man who just constantly pushes himself to learn new things and go beyond even your comfort zone at times, even now. That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing.
You know, there's another really interesting angle here that may have been freeing for me, and I call it the sort of the superpower of adversity. When you grow up with nothing, it's not like it builds a humility inside of you that says, okay, I've been able to achieve this level of success, but hey, if it all falls apart, I didn't have anything to start with, so I have nothing to lose, right? It's almost nothing to lose. But here's the reason that I didn't feel that I have nothing to lose, that I had nothing to lose. It was never about money. Had no money to begin with. It wasn't about making money. And this is where a lot of people misinterpret the American dream to be all about getting rich. Getting rich and having wealth is a byproduct of the real American dream, which is freedom. So wealth ends up being an enabler of freedom, but it doesn't determine by itself how free you can be.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. So the American dream is about freedom. Yes. And because that's what the American symbolizes for the world is freedom. Free country, free economy, free. I mean, and of course, you and I know free doesn't mean it's free like you don't pay for it, that there's no cost to it, but free and that you're free to live out the dream. You're free to accomplish. Like there's really no other. And this is why people from all over the world dream about coming to the United States and living it, because the opportunities that are here. But the thing is that you have to take the opportunities. You have to take the action. You have to, like if my dad didn't take the opportunity and go ahead and sign up for college, signed up for the student loans and said, you know what, I'm willing to take that risk because I know education is so important and it's going to pay off for my family in the long run.
Exactly.
Because he didn't have that opportunity back in Vietnam. That was not something that was presented or would have been presented. You know? So yeah, I love that, what you said. And you're right. Wealth is a byproduct, and wealth doesn't even just mean money. There's so much to abundance and wealth. Health and joy and contentment and all those things are all wrapped into feeling like you're rich and wealthy, so it's not just the dollar sign. And I think, what you're saying is absolutely true. When you come from a place, when you realize I came in this world with nothing, or I lived in a world with nothing, I survived just fine, with nothing. But also one day I'm going to leave with nothing. I mean, I was born in this world with nothing, and I'm going to leave with, I can't take anything that I buy or have or obtain in that sense. But there's certain things that people cannot take away. So they can take away your house, your car, your bank account, all that, Jim, but they can never take away the education that you have gained ever.
Exactly. That literally, that was what my dad used to tell me as a kid, and it inspired me to turn to learning as something that they couldn't take away. In fact, they did take away our house. They condemned our house at one point when I was a child growing up, and it was such a lesson that it was kind of like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. They can take stuff, but if I have knowledge, that insulates me. It protects me from ever having that happen again.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you said, you had said, I know that if this doesn't work out, I I have the knowledge and skills, and if I don't have the knowledge skills, I'll go gain it, and I'll do something else.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about optionality
Mm.
and flexibility. I'll give you an example of what of the difference in wealth. There are a lot of people out um, promoting getting wealthy and being successful and all of these, you know, 10x programs and blah blah blah. And I admire those people because they are aggressive, they're innovative, they're entrepreneurs. But I see people riding on their Gulf Stream in the back, and it's a measure of wealth, it's a measure of status. But I prefer to have the freedom to be up front. I don't have to wait on a crew and schedule the plane and do all this other stuff. I could just go jump in my plane and go anywhere in the country I want to go. That to me is true freedom.
Mm.
And that doesn't require wealth, as I mean a certain level of wealth, but it requires knowledge.
Mhm.
So it's a different objective, that I have a different kind of freedom than people that are far richer than me, but I'm able to enjoy that freedom because of knowledge.
Yeah. Love it. Love this conversation because you definitely give people something to really. It's provoking some thinking and to dig deeper, and which we should, because we're on this life of journey of life, right? And so it's a continuous journey of learning for all of us. We're all different stages. So whether you want to learn or you don't want to learn, there's lessons that we learn along the way. And if you want to propel and be successful in whatever it is that you put your dreams towards, you have to put in the effort and the action, and you have to apply the knowledge. Because you know what? I went to college with people who were very, very intelligent, very smart. They, graduated, highest ranking honors, and yet some of them didn't necessarily go out and achieve because they had great book smarts.
Mhm.
They had the knowledge, but they weren't able to really apply the knowledge into practical life, because education, because let's face it, college is a great place that gives you a nice base knowledge, but the education begins after the degree and you actually get into the work field. Like, there are things that I remember jumping into my first job and thinking, wow, I don't remember them teaching me how to navigate this. I have the skills and whatnot, but I don't know how to navigate a really angry patient. So now we have to figure this out to calm them down so that we can have a good experience for the rest of the hour. And so they're not going to have a heart attack in my chair, so that I don't have a patient that's dead, and that's on the news, patient dies in chair kind of thing. But absolutely, I've seen people, who can gain a lot of credentials and get the certificates and the degrees, but they have a really hard time applying that knowledge.
Mhm.
Jim, what would you recommend for those that may be struggling? Like, how do they get from, I've got the skill set, but for some reason I'm not necessarily getting the jobs, or I'm getting passed on the promotions, or I just can't seem to get this business really to the level it needs to be. What is that missing ingredient, Jim? How do you go from getting the knowledge and then really making it work for you?
I don't think there is one answer. I wish I had the easy answer and just say, "Oh yeah, sure. Here's what you have to do." It really does come down to persistence. And I've got a little plaque that I keep on my desk that I've had since I was in high school, literally. In fact, I just stumbled across a photograph of my high school desk with a little manual typewriter and all books around me. And there on my wall is my plaque. And it was a quote from Calvin Coolidge that I actually took off the wall from McDonald's when I was working at McDonald's. And I brought the poster home and made a plaque out of it, and it's been on my desk ever since. It's right there. It's literally within arm's reach of me. You want me to show it to you?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, hang on. Okay, here it is.
Oh, wow.
It says, "Press on. Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Even education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent."
Wow.
I made this in high school. It's been on my desk ever since high school. And I've got another interesting twist to this story. If you don't think it's important, think about one of the most successful business people in the world, Warren Buffett.
Yes.
Warren, excuse me. Warren was kind enough to send me his autobiography, and I was thumbing through it. I was really impressed with all of the chapters in this very, very large book, and I came across a chapter that stopped me in my tracks. This chapter is one page.
Wow.
In his autobiography. Look
Wow.
familiar?
That's incredible.
Okay, I'm going to hold it up side by side.
And you did not know this when you were in high school when you made this?
No. Same script. Same script.
That's incredible.
How cool is that?
That is so cool.
And he thought enough of this Calvin Coolidge quote to make it an entire chapter in his book. So I think there's a message there.
Yeah.
And I think the message is for anyone that, yes, knowledge is critically important. Education is obviously very, very important. But nothing can take the place of persistence and determination, as this plaque so effectively said so many years ago when I used this as my kind of North Star for navigating both the academic world and the business world, that you just got to stay at it and recognize change is inevitable. It's going to happen. Confidence is really what comes from inside, and clarity is the key. Those three things, with a little dose of persistence and determination, will carry you virtually anywhere.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. How that is so special and so amazing. It's almost like, God gave you this great divine thought you did in high school to remind of, to be there with you as you went along. And then you got a great encouragement, confirmation of you're on the right track, Jim.
Yeah.
When you got this book. Wow.
Excuse me. I'm doing way too much speaking these days.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate you taking time out and being here. And I know allergies has been, I feel like a lot, like with me too, because I've had a lot of congestion myself. So I totally understand that on top of like your schedule. Absolutely. Jim, thank you so much for being here, taking time out and sharing, being an American dream maker, living the American dream, and sharing with us how we can all go beyond even the American dream. It's just amazing. Jim, I am so blessed that I got to get to know you better, on this interview. And gosh, I wish you all the best and continue to enjoy life. And how cool is that? Maybe you can fly to Prescott one of these days and we can do lunch. That'd be awesome.
I'd be happy to. Let me leave you with one thing.
Yes, please.
The reason for this book, and this is why I love the title of your series, American Dream Makers. I have been blessed with being able to live the American dream. I've captured, I believe, the roadmap for the American dream in this book. And that's why I don't want people just to buy it for themselves. I truly hope people will find that this roadmap is helpful for others and do as I'm doing. Share the message, share the roadmap to the American dream with others. And as we said before, if someone wants to buy 10 of these or order 10 of these on Amazon, and just go online, get my email and send me evidence that you've ordered 10 copies, and I will send you a free autographed copy of my book with a special inscription for you in it. And I wish everyone the very best of luck in their own pursuit of the American dream.
Thank you so much. You guys definitely take Jim on this and go to his website, jameswkeys.com. Check out his website, and yes, go order the book, whether you order it from his website or you order it from Amazon. It doesn't really matter. This book needs to get into other people's hands. And thank you so much for your generous offer. And I look forward to getting my copy, because I'm going to order 10 books and share it, because it really is freedom. So I appreciate you so much, Jim. And so I'm just going to say goodbye for now, but I'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and end this this day on a really high note. So thank you again. All right, get you back in here. Thank you, American Dream Makers, for being here today with us. And absolutely share this out when you're watching this, listening to it. Share it out, because Jim obviously shared some incredible message, value, all of those things for your success. So until the next time, you guys, go out there and live the American dream and help others along the way. God bless, and be prosperous and do amazing things. Thank you.